Good morning. Blue sky. Bit of haze in the distance. Maybe a sign of a bit of humidity. But otherwise, it's just a normal, everyday day here in the Philippines. And I've already ridden my bike into town. I was trying to find a chemist open, a pharmacy open. But unfortunately, I was a bit too early in the morning for that. But I was able to pick up a dozen pandesal, a definite must in the morning here in the Philippines. You know, I do appreciate all the comments that are made on the channel regarding the last couple of weeks of a little bit, I suppose, of doom and gloom from many people's points of view. But of course, all kinds of situations can happen for all of us in the world. We're not immune, and I'm certainly not immune from myself. Any situation that finds itself at my doorstep. But what I will say is that many of the comments are helpful, food for thought, as they often talk about, and I do listen to the comments, but also you have to realize that we all stand in different shoes and we see things from a different point of view. And many, it seems, have definitely got a different moral compass to myself. It's not a case of blindly moving on with the idea that when things go pear-shaped that you just abandon your morals, all of your survival techniques in life. I am always a bit of the opinion that you try your hardest, because if you try your hardest, when you look back at your life from a forward position from now, you can at least look yourself in the eye and know that you did your darndest to rectify or at least calm a situation down. And there is a tendency from many, and I'm sorry guys, a lot of the ones that make these rather off the cuff kind of comments about how you should do this or do that, they're not always English people. In a majority sense, there are people often that are living in America, planning on coming here, and still have the mindset of a Western lifestyle. And one most important aspect of coming and living anywhere outside of your own country is not to bring with you a preconceived idea that you can transplant your life here into the Philippines and carry on as if you were back home. It just doesn't work. Everything that you thought was easy isn't. Everything that you thought was hard isn't. And everything that you think you've got your head around, you haven't. Because it's like going to Japan for the first time. When you go to Japan for the first time, you're a fish out of water. You can't even identify what a bank looks like. You can't identify a convenience store necessarily by the signs. They're not in English, they're in Japanese. Sure, if there was a 7-Eleven, you might be able to identify it. But generally speaking, to wander down a general image of maybe Osaka, an outer city of that of Tokyo, but nevertheless a popular city for people who travel to Japan, you will find yourself definitely feeling like a fish out of water. And if you're that way inclined that nothing phases you, nothing, you have no fear, Johnny's here or Joe's here, depending on how you perceive yourself, then of course nothing will faze you. You'll go ahead and do the things you think you have got a handle on. You've got the bottle, as they say. Well, it's funny how a smiling face from a Filipina will suddenly remove that feeling of having the bottle, because they're doing it as their own mechanism. They're not doing it because of something you've said or done. They're doing it because that's the way they believe they should. The idea that people can go past you and go means nothing to most people coming here. They just look like, oh, it's a glance. But it's actually telling you something. And until you understand why you need to do that occasionally yourself, you won't understand why people won't talk to you. You won't understand why people aren't giving you a glance beyond the fact that you stand out like a sore thumb. There's so many things attached to life in the Philippines that you can't read a book about. Sure, you can go and watch Sunshine's Shoulders and have his perspective of life, but is it really life? You know, how many girlfriends has he had since he's been here? How many children has he fathered here? How many children has he fathered full stop? That's his business. But it also tells you something if you listen to it. It's a different perspective from an American about life here. He's doing his best to tell you that life isn't quite how you imagine. You have Geo gives another perspective. If you watched him a few years ago, you would have probably not necessarily seen him in the same light that you do now, that he's settled down with a new person in his life, not a girlfriend, but a wife. So you're going to see a new Geo. Ricky, well, Ricky, or whatever he calls himself, used to be quite popular here, not so much anymore. He's now living, I believe, in Thailand, or maybe he's back here again. The guys in Dumaguete now and again come out with a, 7 reasons why I stayed, why I'm giving up. Uh, all clickbait. Why is he giving up? What's he giving up? Cigarettes? Women? Crazy thoughts? Everybody has their little niche in life. And you tune in to these different channels. And some you're watching a make-believe show, a make-believe lifestyle. If you want to supposedly keep up with the Joneses and find out what's happening here, there, and everywhere, then maybe why don't you watch Philippine Antics? Amusing, load of garbage, but nevertheless interesting for some. Then, of course, you got the guy who lives up in his ivory tower going out for an evening out. Where's he going? 14th floor of his building to have a romantic meal with his wife, who for a long time you never ever saw. And you had to wonder whether in fact he was talking about a non-existent person. But now he's decided, oh, a pretty face might make more views. You know, YouTube is going through an amazing change. There's definitely a change ahead. Things are going to shake up, I'm sure. And as a result, it's up to the content to draw you in. You know, if you want boots and all, yeah, maybe Sunshine Calvin is the man for you. Maybe every man has a boring story is also another one. And there's a myriad of young ladies who tell you about how important it is to have a big dick or a little dick, or that young ladies like anal. My goodness, what has the world come to? You know, there are so many things to get an idea about the Philippines, which has no relevance whatsoever. Coming to the Philippines is like going to any other country. It's a new experience. There'll be things that you've discovered you never knew about the Philippines. There'll be beautiful places that you'll write home about, tell your friends. And you'll also have problems with your girlfriend, your wife, and you'll think the world has crumbled around you. But if you're strong in will, strong in determination, sure, on your face, people will say, "Oh, you look stressed, John. You're depressed." Yeah, probably have been, probably am. But I'm not really. It just shows on my face. I mean, I'm 76. Am I as resilient as I was when I was 56? Probably not. But I'm an old, wise old man, and I'm not that stupid to let the water flood me out and end up drowning in my own misery. These things come, these things go. It's like if you remember those, what were they, oscilloscopes? And they used to show things like that. It's like the currency, but with a softer bend. Life is all about that. Those that say life is wonderful, I've been married for 15 years, great. Now tell me the truth. Have you never had an argument? Have you never thought, well, I've had enough of this rubbish, I'm out? Everybody's had those things. And you're not immune whether you live in the Philippines or overseas anywhere. It's up to you, your own character, whether you can get through things. I'm focusing on positive things. What's positive a future for me? Christmas is coming. What's positive for me? New Year's coming. What's positive? That I wake up alive tomorrow. That there's a little pair of feet finally arriving sooner than later. And it's overdue already. And they're positives. They're not negatives to drag me down, get out before it's too late. You know, you're going to do this. Sure, have a plan B. I hate that expression, but be receptive to the idea that if things don't work out, you're quite capable and able to seek a different direction in life. And those that follow me, very kind people, very intuitive people, are my YouTube buddies. And we're getting less and less of those stupid comments from stupid, yes, mainly Americans, who decide that it's the day that they need to try and rattle me. You won't rattle me, guys. Even the likes of that stupid Mikey won't rattle me. He irritates me, but he wouldn't rattle me. And thank God again and again. He's removed from the airwaves for the moment. See, he was just doing an experiment. You know, yes, I know you were, Mikey, doing an experiment. He must be so frustrated watching his favorite video channels that he used to pick on, and probably making comments on the channel under different names. Who knows? Maybe he's talking to friends of ours. Who knows? But the likes of Mike and Arlene, who are they? They're street wanderers. They waddle upstairs. They go for their daily bloods or weekly blood tests. That's his life. For me, I'm lucky I don't have his medical issues. But what a boring life he must lead. Same place for breakfast, same idiots to talk to. My goodness, life must be so boring. I'm sure those that surround themselves with these kinds of guys can't wait till the old geezer dies and they can get on with real life and enjoy the fruits of their labour. The ones that have sat round and loyally stuck by these people. But are they really happy? I'll guarantee they only like his wallet or anybody else's wallet. You know, it's inevitable. A woman will always choose security over non-security. They'll always follow the opportunities in life. Why should we blame them? They're living a better life than maybe they had before. And in a general terms, hypothetically, they might have come from very poor beginnings. But who cares? You're there to enjoy your life with them for as long as you can. And when it's time to move on, it's time to move on. And I've got lots of things to do. I've got the gate to finish this week. I borrowed a new cable which should carry the current a bit better than that crappy one from China. And I think it was a Christmas light extension cord. Didn't last very long, but I've ordered another one so I can just use it for the grinder. Not ever going to use it to supply power to the inverter style, what do they call it, welder. So I'm going to be busy this week. Lots of things to do. Maybe a new arrival. Who knows? We never know what's going to happen tomorrow. A bit of gardening, a bit of cleaning up, all good things. Chat to my dear friend Ian living in the Philippines, and Simon and Pinay, and a big shout out to you-know-who came and spent a very pleasant few days here in the Gillian at Bella Vista, which is a resort just up the road. And we had a wonderful Chinese meal, and he insisted that he paid. So, of course, being a tightwad, I'm only joking, but he was extremely informative. I've come away with a positive feeling, a more broader approach to life. And yes, he's English. And yes, we had a good gift of the gab, and we have a wonderful relationship to carry on with. So it's a big shout out to you, you-know-who. And let's move on to better things, new exciting things. I see in the house round the corner that I've been following, they've added a little bit more, an extra couple of feet to each of the pillars. So they've done that over the weekend. So I won't bother filming that part, because all they've done is boxed up around the pillar, backfilled it, ready to do the ring beam round the top. So once they start on that, boxing that up and doing the steel work, I'll go around there and show you what's happening there too. So there's lots of things to happen. We may go into San Fernando this week to have a look around, or we might even take a trip up to Vegan if it's possible, to get around a little bit more, which I'm able to do now that my leg is on its, my foot is on the mend, so to speak. So if you enjoy this little morning chit chat from this miserable, grumpy old Brit in the Philippines, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Come on, subscribe. It's going up bit by bit by bit, but it's always appreciated. We haven't got long, and we'll be at 1,000. So we're less than 100 now away. So it's up to you. If you want to encourage the 1,000 mark, then we're away laughing. And I'll have to do a few lives to build up my, what do they call it? My watch hours. So I'm not really in a rush to, and I don't know really whether I'll bother with monetizing the channel. It's never been about money, so it's the only one that was doing it was the other channel to help my my ex-girlfriend's daughter, as I now have to refer to her as. Still a lovely lady. So we'll see you later, no doubt. Bye now.